everyone, and welcome to EgJewels Lapidary. My name is Eli Ganeem. Today I'm going to talk to you about a problem that quite a few people has, and I always get this questions that I got too much solder on my work. How can I clean it? Well, let's go back to why do you have this problem. First is because you get too much solder, obviously, and second is the flux. Where do you put your flux? So let's go back at the first thing, which is you get too much solder. This is here is it's a bezel, and if you look at the thickness of it, it's about, let me see if you can focus on it. See this? The thickness is about 0.5 millimeter. So it's not that much. So if we're looking at having the solder, to solder this one on a plate. So I got the plate, you're going to solder it here, and if you take those pellet of solders and put them in, you're going to look at it and see, okay, how much of this pellet is going to expand. Remember, you're just soldering the base here only. So how much solder do you need to put in there? So put, whatever you think as little as possible. You can always come back and add the area that you didn't solder properly, but most of the time you'll be able to solder the whole thing. So that's the first thing. Then I was saying about the flux, but before I go there, when I have something like that where the bezel is like this, what I usually do is I put the solder on the inside of the bezel. And this way, it keeps the outside clean where I'm working. So you don't see it on the outside as much as the inside. So even if you have to clean it, you would be probably cleaning the inside more than the outside. Now, the flux. It helps the solder to go and move towards the area where you have the flux. So if you have a flux all over, all around, and you splash it, then that's what's going to happen. With the heat, the solder is just going to move to wherever you have flux. If you don't have the flux, the solder will not move there. So try to control where you're putting your flux. In this video I'm going to show you a bezel, something similar to that, and soldering the bail. Here they are. You could see that. That's the bail, and see the bail is very small, and you could see the tip of it. It's kind of very tiny. See that? And it's going to go into this one here. So when I put it in, let me get my finger out of there. So when I put it like that, it's a point that is touching where I have to solder. So have a look when I'm doing the video. Watch where I'm putting my flux in there. So two things: the amount of solder that you're putting in, and the flux, where are you going to put it in. So stick around, I'll be back in a second. So here I'm going to add the boric acid, and there's a video that I made that you can actually go back and watch it. Take each part and dip it in the solution of the boric acid and the alcohol. Now I'm going to light it up, but before you do that, make sure you close the lid and put it away from the work area. So now when I use the flame, won't have any accident catches on fire. So safety first. Okay, now it burns the alcohol out. And just clean up a little bit the boric acid. It just comes like a white powder. Now look at the flux. When I put the flux, it's just at the point where I need it. I don't put the flux all over the place. So I just like right here, I just put it right on the tip, and that's more than enough. So now when the solder will flow, it will flow only where the flux is. So this way it will not flow all over the place. So if I have it around, like if you're doing, like I showed you, the bezel and the plate, the base plate, if I put the flux all over the plate, when I heat up the solder and it starts to flow, it's going to flow all over on that plate. So then I have to clean it afterwards. So just put enough solder with the amount that you basically need, and just think of it like, okay, the pellet that you're going to have when it melts, how much of liquid solder that you're going to have, and based on that you put it in, and it comes with the experience anyway. Now I'm using the just set them up and using my hummingbirds. Usually I will use like 2 for each one, but just to show when I'm working and soldering, I just put 1, and this will hold. It's over the bail to hold it in position. Then I put the bezel against it in the right place. So make sure that it's exactly centered. So this way, at least once it's soldered, I don't have to redo it. You know, I give you a closer view of what I'm doing here. That looks good. Now I'm just gonna start heating, and you will notice that I'm putting more heat on the bigger item. So the bail is on the back. Oh, this is fast view right now, so you make it a little bit faster. You can see it start to get a little bit red everywhere, and now concentrate on the solder. Now it's done. That's all there is to it. So now I'm doing the second one. Here it goes. Make sure it's against. Make sure that you don't touch the hummingbirds that are hot by now. Now I'm going to take both of them, and sometimes when the brick is kind of dirty, it just stick to it, but that's not a big deal. Okay, so we finished the soldering of the bezel and the bail. So now I'm going to show you how I'm going to fit the opal. I got the opal capuchon that I'm going to fit the band. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to fit it in and using the prongs. Now this one has 4 prongs, and I'm using this plier specifically for the prongs. And if you look at it, you got one side has the groove, and that's where the prong will fit. The other side is a little bit longer, and it fit at the bottom. You can see it here. It's a little bit longer, the one side on the right. The groove is on the side of the left side. So when you do it, you do one side, don't close it all the way, just a touch, and then go to the opposite prong and also do it a little bit and back and forth, and then do the other 2. This way you can center your capuchon right between the 4 prongs, and this way you'll have it right center. That looks good. Now I gotta do this one. It did crack right here. So now I'm going to take it out and probably grind it, make it smaller, and change it, put another one in there. Well, that's fine, I can do that later, but now I have, this one is done right here, and I got a smaller one that also, it's done. Here you go. Okay, I hope you liked this video and we learned something out of it. If you have any questions, just comment below. I usually answer all my the question that comes in, and I reply to everyone. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. This way, every time I put a new video, you'll get an email, and it will tell you that the new one is up, so you could it's uploaded and you can go ahead and see it. So just go on the corner over here, you're going to see my picture, just click on it and that will get you to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again.